casually group photos with friends, snapshots of her morning coffee, the occasional sunset picture. But over time, she realized that social media wasn't just a place to connect, it was a game. And if she played it right, she could win. Determined to grow her following, Mia carefully crafted her online persona. She posted aesthetic pictures, followed trends, and engaged with influencers. Her content became polished, curated, and strategic. Soon, the numbers started climbing. More likes, more followers, more messages from brands wanting to collaborate. She had made it. Or so she thought. What began as a hobby turned into an obsession. Every day revolved around content creation, waking up early for golden hour photos, editing pictures to perfection, and monitoring engagement. She spent more time on her phone than in real life. Meals with friends became photo ops, vacations were planned around Instagram-worthy spots, and even her emotions were filtered for the perfect caption. Then, one evening, as she scrolled through her profile, she felt a strange emptiness. Her life looked perfect online, yet in reality, she felt exhausted, lonely, and disconnected from the very people she claimed to inspire. The moment of reckoning came during a family gathering. Her younger sister, Emily, tugged at her sleeve. "Mia, can you put your phone down? We never see you anymore." Mia looked up, realizing she had spent the past hour scrolling instead of engaging with her own family. It hit her she had built an audience but lost herself in the process. That night, she made a decision. She logged out. For the first time in years, Mia lived without documenting every moment. She enjoyed meals without taking pictures, spent time with loved ones without distractions, and rediscovered the hobbies she had abandoned for social media. Slowly, she started feeling like herself again. After weeks away, she returned online but with a new perspective. Instead of striving for perfection, she embraced authenticity. Her first post back was different from her usual polished content. I used to chase the illusion of a perfect life. But real life? It doesn't need a filter. The response was mixed. Some followers left. Others stayed, thanking her for her honesty. But for the first time, Mia didn't care about the numbers. She had reclaimed her life, and that was the only validation she needed. Now, Mia used social media on her terms. Not as a highlight reel, but as a space for genuine connection. She no longer lived for the screen, she lived for herself. And for the first time in a long time, that felt like freedom. Title: Lost in the Digital Maze. Liam had always been fascinated by technology. As a teenager, he was one of the first in his school to embrace social media, sharing snippets of his life through photos, videos, and status updates. At first, it was just a fun way to connect with friends, but over time, his online presence became something more: a carefully crafted identity, separate from his real self. What started as a hobby soon turned into an obsession. Liam meticulously planned his posts, ensuring each one captured the perfect lighting, the best angles, and the most engaging captions. His follower count skyrocketed, and with it came brand deals, sponsorships, and the validation of thousands of likes. He felt invincible, as if his digital self had become more real than his physical existence. But behind the curated images and polished videos, Liam's real life was unraveling. The more he chased perfection online, the more disconnected he became from the world around him. He stopped hanging out with friends unless there was an opportunity for content. Family dinners became interruptions to his scrolling. Even moments that should have been personal, his sister's graduation, his best friend's wedding, were reduced to Instagram stories and engagement metrics. One evening, after an exhausting day of content creation, Liam found himself lying in bed, mindlessly scrolling through his own feed. He had crafted a life so perfect that even he barely recognized it. The realization hit him hard: was he truly happy, or had he simply become addicted to the illusion of happiness? The breaking point came when he attended a high-profile influencer event in Los Angeles. The venue was stunning, filled with neon lights, designer outfits, and picture-perfect backdrops. But instead of feeling excited, Liam felt empty. Conversations were shallow, filled with discussions of algorithms and brand deals. No one truly connected, everyone was too busy capturing the moment rather than living it. That night, Liam did something he never thought he would. He logged out. He turned off his phone, shut his laptop, and for the first time in years, he allowed himself to just exist. The silence was deafening, but it was also liberating. In the days that followed, Liam took small steps toward reclaiming his life. He reconnected with old friends, this time without the pressure of documenting every moment. He went for walks without checking his phone, rediscovering the beauty of the world outside the screen. He picked up hobbies he had abandoned, like playing the guitar and sketching. Eventually, he returned to social media, but with a different approach. He no longer chased perfection. His posts became raw, unfiltered, and honest. He shared his struggles, his lessons, and his journey toward rediscovering authenticity. To his surprise, his audience responded with overwhelming support. Instead of idolizing him, they related to him. One message stood out: "Thank you for showing the truth behind the screen. It's comforting to know we're not alone in this." For the first time in years, Liam felt something real, not digital approval, but genuine human connection. And that, he realized, was worth more than any number of likes. The price of perfection. Sophie Lane had always loved photography. As a teenager, she carried her camera everywhere, capturing candid moments of her friends, the glow of the sunset, and the quiet beauty of everyday life. But when social media became her main outlet for sharing, her love for photography turned into something else, something she wasn't sure she liked. At first, Instagram felt like a creative playground. She shared her photos with joy, unbothered by metrics. But as her following grew, so did her awareness of what performed well. Bright colors, trendy locations, perfectly styled outfits, these were the things that got likes. Soon, Sophie found herself curating every post to match an aesthetic that wasn't even hers. She spent hours planning content. Weekend trips weren't about exploring but about finding the perfect backdrop. Meals were chosen based on how photogenic they were. Even her friendships started to feel transactional: who could help her take the best pictures. She barely noticed the shift until one afternoon when her best friend, Olivia, sighed in frustration as Sophie took yet another round of photos before eating. "Can we just enjoy this?" Olivia asked. "You act like life doesn't count unless it looks good online." Sophie opened her mouth to protest, but she had no argument. When had she stopped seeing moments for what they were and started viewing them as content? That night, as she lay in bed scrolling through her feed, she felt strangely detached. Her life looked beautiful, yet she didn't feel connected to it. Then came the breaking point. A fellow influencer, someone Sophie admired, announced that she was quitting social media. In her farewell post, she admitted that she had built an image so flawless that she no longer knew who she was outside of it. The words hit Sophie harder than she expected. In that moment, she realized she was exhausted. Not just physically, but emotionally. She had spent so long crafting an idealized version of her life that she had forgotten to live it. The next morning, she did something she had never done before: she deleted her editing apps. No filters, no corrections. Just real, unpolished moments. She started posting photos that weren't perfect, but they felt more like her. She wrote captions that weren't poetic, but honest. And for the first time in years, she didn't care about the response. Some followers left. Some sent messages asking if she was okay. But many others reached out with gratitude. "Thank you for this," one message read. "I've felt so much pressure to be perfect online. It helps to know I'm not alone." Sophie smiled. She had spent years chasing perfection, only to realize it wasn't real. What was real were the messy, unfiltered moments, the ones that didn't need a hashtag or a double tap to matter. From then on, she used social media differently. Not as a performance, but as an extension of herself. And in doing so, she rediscovered the joy of photography, the joy of seeing life not through the lens of perfection, but through the lens of truth. And for the first time, that felt like enough. Title: The Price of Going Viral. Emma had never considered herself famous. She was just an ordinary college student who loved sharing her thoughts and daily life online. But everything changed the day she uploaded a simple video of herself talking about mental health. Within hours, it went viral. By the next morning, her follower count had exploded from a few hundred to hundreds of thousands. At first, the attention was exhilarating. Brands reached out for collaborations, media outlets wanted interviews, and her inbox flooded with messages from people thanking her for her honesty. She felt like she was making a real impact. But as her popularity grew, so did the pressure. Every post needed to be better than the last. Every video had to be engaging, polished, and timed perfectly for maximum reach. She started spending hours on analytics, watching engagement numbers dictate her mood. Soon, Emma found herself living for the algorithm rather than for herself. She no longer shared moments because she wanted to, she shared them because she had to. The joy of creating content turned into a never-ending cycle of strategizing and performing. If a post didn't do well, she felt like she had failed. If she took a day off, she feared irrelevance. Her once simple and genuine passion became a full-time, unpaid job. The real turning point came when she received her first wave of online hate. Strangers dissected her words, twisted her intentions, and made cruel assumptions about her life. Some called her fake. Others accused her of seeking attention. Every notification filled her with dread, and soon, the anxiety became overwhelming. One night, after hours of scrolling through hurtful comments, Emma shut her laptop and stared at her reflection in the dark screen. When was the last time she felt like herself? When was the last time she had gone a full day without worrying about content? She realized she had become a prisoner of her own online persona. The next morning, she made a bold decision. She deleted the social media apps from her phone and took a break, not knowing if she would ever return. At first, it was terrifying. She had spent so long tied to her online identity that being offline felt like disappearing. But as the days passed, she rediscovered small joys: reading without checking her notifications, taking walks without documenting them, laughing with friends without the need to post about it. Months later, Emma cautiously returned to social media, but on her own terms. She set boundaries, ignored the pressure to constantly post, and only shared what truly mattered to her. Instead of chasing virality, she focused on meaningful connections. To her surprise, her audience appreciated this change. Many admitted they, too, had felt suffocated by the digital world but had been too afraid to step away. One message stood out to her: "Thank you for reminding us that it's okay to slow down. We don't have to live for the internet." For the first time in a long while, Emma felt free. She had learned the hard way that online fame came with a price, but she had also learned that she didn't have to pay it anymore.